I remember the utter shock and falling to the floor when I heard the number of people that were affected and the lives lost. Never in my life, never again will I feel such utter shock.
My beautiful town. My beautiful town.
I was there at the fire station. I was with families, with first responder personnel, and it was just too vast, too incomprehensible, I think, for many of us to get our heads around.
It continues, even now, to be like a sword that, when you touch it, is still very, very sensitive.
As far as I'm concerned, Sandy Hook was the tipping point for gun action or gun violence issues. It's the point that when you go in 20 little kids and 6 teachers are killed by someone that has an assault weapon, that doesn't make sense in this. Yes, that is, well.
You can be going through your day and you're experiencing joy and you're experiencing happiness and laughter and all the regular things you'd expect in life, and then there's a moment in nearly every day when you are looking at that other space, that empty, kind of broken space, and you reflect on this impossible catastrophe that happened here and can happen again in this country, and has happened again.
The shooting at Sandy Hook, it'll forever be part of the identity of this town, unfortunately. It's not a club we want to belong to. It's not anything we want to be known for, but I feel that if we're known for how we respond to such a traumatic event, and possibly can help the next community. Unfortunately, there will be a next community and a community after that.
I'm not one of those people that believes everything happens for a reason. I don't believe God had anything to do with this, but he's there to pick up the pieces.
A faith response to gun violence is, first of all, an acknowledgement that we need to recognize that we can build idols in this world, and that the gun has become an idol in our society. We think the gun makes us safer. We think the gun makes us more powerful. But in reality, a gun gives us brokenheartedness. It tears apart families. It tears apart communities.
One thing I would love to see is the United Church of Christ and other communities of faith to focus more on bringing awareness to the impact of gun violence, and also to the need for better and more comprehensive mental health care.
Well, I think in the United Church of Christ we have this great history and tradition of where we've challenged the status quo, where we've said sometimes the things that we accept as normal, aren't acceptable. How we treat certain people because of the color of their skin or their sexual orientation. We've said, as Christians, we understand that God calls us to take a look at who we are and what we're about. And so I think in gun violence, the status quo for gun violence just isn't acceptable.
Think of the horror of having teachers armed. I mean, that's suggested by some people, and I think it's absolutely absurd. Teachers should not have to be trained in the use of firearms as a part of their job.
My views on gun control have changed greatly. Before this happened, I kind of thought, well, to each his own. It's everybody's right to have a gun, and but now I feel very differently about it.
There are people and families that really need protection if they're out 20 minutes away from a sheriff but do they need an assault weapon? Does the guy in a condo need an assault weapon?
I don't think we have to be anti-gun in the same way we're not anti-car, just because we want drivers to be responsible and we want to have laws that promote safety. We want to have vehicles that are safer and less likely to harm people. And we can do the same thing with guns if we're willing to, and faith should ask of that.
There's a sense of frustration in wanting to see things change, but from the early stages, we reminded ourselves and were reminded by others and other communities that this is going to be a long marathon towards change. But change will come.
Call your congressman. Write him if you need
Oh,
to.
yeah.
Call
I
your
get
congressman.
Emails and Facebook things all the time about sign this petition, and here's a phone number, call this congressman, and something. We never did that before. We just figured someone else would do it, I guess. But you've got to get out there and do it yourself.
What I tell people, for us as Christians, this really isn't a Second Amendment issue. This is a Second Commandment crisis. And it's a Second Commandment crisis because we're told we're not supposed to worship false idols. And in America, over the last 20 or 30 years, we've created an idol of the gun.
If you can prevent one death, if you can keep one child from being shot, it's worth it. It's worth the effort.
My beautiful